ओमज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य त्वन्मयादितरतश्चार्थेषु भिघ्नस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदयादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं विठो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजता दधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 14, verse number 14. This is Sukadeva Goswami speaking to Parikshit Maharaj, and he is describing the meaning of the allegory which Bharat has spoken to King Rahuna, in which he described that human life is like a forest fire and people undergo a lot of suffering, troubles, tribulations, just as when one is lost in a dense forest. So this whole thing is, of course, to incite the feeling of renunciation from our material life, so that we can turn our awareness, our attention to our real purpose. Otherwise, like children, we are absorbed in playing with toys. So just as grown-up people don't have interest in the toys, like that, those who understand the purpose of spiritual life or purpose of our human life, for them it looks like just playing with the toys and wasting time, this material life. So such people try to explain to materialistic people how this life is not meant for such activities. So he says that Kvachid Ashadya Griham Davat Priyartha Vidhuras Ashukhodarkam Sokagnina Dahyamano Yada tu बाधया अंध आत्मने नोपनमति तदा तु पितृपुत्र बर्हिस्मतः पितृपुत्रान् वास खलु भक्षयति. So he says that previously he was describing how this person he takes shelter of inauspicious trees. Which means that he goes to people who are not very pious, who are impious, and depends on them for money or wealth or job. And the end result is suffering, because that is the meaning of taking shelter of impious trees. So he says that when he is not able to be successful in getting any money from such people, because impious trees means that they don't give you any fruit, any flowers, they will give you allergy. Right? There are some plants, you touch them, they are very allergic. These are the impious plants. Like human being, even if you just go near them, you get into some trouble. Even just being near to them, you can have a problem. So that is called impious shelter, or taking shelter of some people who are not having good stock of piety. Means who are not helpful to you, who are only looking for exploiting others and causing trouble. There are people who like to help others even at the expense of their own comfort. And there are people who will help others, but they will also not get themselves into some trouble situation. And there are people who will exploit others for their own benefit. Such people are called selfish. There are people who will trouble others and they also don't get any benefit for themselves. They are called foolish. Because if they are troubling others to gain something for themselves, at least they are selfish. But these people are not even selfish. They are just like that hunter described in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad, who is shooting these animals. He is not gaining anything, but he wants to get them and eat their meat or anything. So he is troubling others and not gaining anything. So this is the meaning of taking shelter of impious trees. That these trees, they don't get anything, they give you allergy, they give you some disease, some sickness. Just like there are pious trees like Tulsi plant or bale tree, amla tree, these are considered as pious trees. Because if you go near them, then you benefit some good health, good vibrations, good energy comes from them. So people are also like that. So he says when he gets fried from that, then what happens? He comes home and he is hungry and there is no food. So then he gets mad. But when you are hungry and you don't get food, then you cannot hold your anger. So then you go mad and you fight with your own children or father, Putri Putra Bharismata, and Pitri Putran Vasa Kalu Bhakshati. So even if they have some food, he takes away from them and he eats. So he is not concerned about anything, that they are my children or my parents, nothing like that. Commentary says, परस्परं चालयते निरन्न इत्येतद् व्याचष्टे परबाधया परप्रीडना pradayāpi jīvakaya andha annam nopateshtati. So he says he goes to these other people, he works for them. At the end of the month, they don't give him salary. Sometimes people do that, right? you work, you don't get paid. They say, well, the company is not doing well. So you better work, otherwise it's going to get closed. And if you leave, then you're not going to get paid anyway. The company will close. So you continue working, thinking that company will come back to life. And you don't get paid. So like one man, he walked inside the bar, and there's a lot of heavy shooting going on. This is in Texas. So this man walks fearlessly and goes to the counter and he orders. So the barman, he was hiding under the table. He looks at him and he says, "You are not afraid?" He says, "No." He says, "Why is that?" He says, "All these guys, I owe them money." So it's in their interest to protect me. So like that you don't get paid and you work because you think it's in my interest to keep this company running. Like dollar, everybody wants to keep the dollar running. Nobody wants the dollar collapses. That's the good karma of America. But even if its economy is not doing good at all, still everybody wants that dollar is strong. Because if dollar collapses, then everybody collapses. When the euro goes down, the rupee is crying. So this is the meaning that this guy, he worked, he didn't get paid. So there is nothing to eat. So he says, "Niranda, there is no food." So then he fights with everybody. After all, he is frustrated. He cannot take out his frustration in the office. So he takes out his frustration on wife and children. So this is how frustration gets transferred. This is how you share the karma. People sometimes say that, how does one get karma from another guy? So you work in the office. Your boss is upset with you, but you keep quiet. You come home, but inside you are angry because it's none of your mistake. So then you come home and you shout at your wife. That is a soft target. And the wife, she also keeps quiet. She knows that you are in an angry mood. But she also gets agitated inside. So when the son comes from the school, then she gets mad at him. Now the kid, he gets the beating. So this is how the karma gets transferred. So the poor family members, they are the one who get the hell, ultimately. So parmadaya parpidana pradyapi jivakaya andha annam noptishtati pitu putranam va kushadi trinam atram api yesu pashyati tan bhakshyati rajdwarat padatikan aniya pidayati. So he says that he treats them just like a piece of grass. And says that practically he eats them. So he eats them means that he gets police to get them troubled. Sometimes family members, they call police, the wife calls police when the husband is beating. Then sometimes you see in the West the helicopter comes. So in the past there was no such thing. It says Raj Bhatan, Raj Dwarat, Padatikan, Ani Pidayati. He calls people from the government office and gets them troubled. So Kachidasadya Graham Davgat Priyartha Vidhuram Asukhodarkam Sokagina Dahimanu Bhisham Nirvedam Pugachati. And then sometimes when he sees that the house is empty, there is nothing in the house, no food, no money, no wealth, and it's everything just like forest fire. So he feels very depressed and just sits down because maybe the family members also have left. So he says that pravishaniva avasidati. So becomes very, very distressed, full of grief. Asadya davamiti etad vyachaste kochid asadya. So it's like maybe he's so hungry that his stomach is feeling like there is a fire inside. Davat means forest fire, so maybe he's feeling inside or he feels it outside, and the whole world is just troublesome, nothing else. Kochit kala vishamita rajakula rakshasaphat priyatama dhanasu pramritaka iva vigata jiva lakshanasti. And sometimes what happens that his wealth is taken away. So earlier it was described that facing the death. So he says this servants of the government who are like Rakshasas, terrible, like death. So they come and take away his wealth, which is like his very life. So Pramritakaiva, Vigata Jiva Lakshanasti, then he becomes almost like dead. So if you have taken loan from the bank, then you cannot pay it back. Then what happens? The bank comes with the police, throws you out of the house, takes away your house. Or you have borrowed money from somebody, then he comes with the tough fellows, they kick you. And any valuable you have in the house, they put it in the truck and take it away. So you sit there, don't know what to do. Or if nothing else, then you get taxed. Government is taxing anyway. You work hard, and then they're taxing you, and then you have to pay your insurance, house insurance, car insurance, health insurance. So many types of insurance you have to pay. In the end, there is nothing left. So you feel so disturbed because of that, as if there is no life in you. So he says, Kocha yakshair rita asuraiti etad vyachaste. This verse is explaining where earlier it says that the yakshas and rakshasas, they steal the money. Vigatani jivan lakshnani harshadini yasya soka mochito. So he says there is no happiness left in him, and he may even faint out of distress. That is the situation of person. Kadachid manoratha upagata pitri pita mahadi usadat saditi swapna nivritti lakshanam anubhavati. And sometimes he is desiring some objects, and those objects are not available, but he may dream about them. So he feels very happy. Because when you are hungry and you fall asleep, then you dream of going to some marriage party and eating a feast. But if you wake up, then again you are in the same situation. So you like to go back to sleep, maybe have the same dream. So he says that sometimes you feel some momentary pleasure, which is like a dream, comes and goes. So Kachicha Gandharopuram Pravishta iti etad vyachaste kadachiketi. So this is an explanation of the verse where it said that sometimes he sees this Gandharopura, or this imaginary city in the sky. There is no city there, like some golden city. So it's like you have some reverie, some daydreaming. you feel happy. And then when you wake up, then there's nothing. So manoratha praptam pitradikam asat punar parlokad agatam iti matva swapneva nirvanti. His parents, maybe mother, father, grandfather, they are dead. And he desires to be with them. So sometimes he sees the dream and as if he is with them. And then the dream is over and you wake up and there is nobody. So for a short period one feels happiness because dreams are usually not very long. They look long, but in real time they don't last very long. Just in a few minutes you can dream as if you spent half of your life. So the dream time is different than the wakeful time. It's a different type of clock which works. That's why when you wake up you are able to recognize that it was a dream. When you dream you don't notice the difference. Then you think it is real. It's only when you wake up then you understand, because then it all looks like something past experienced in a different world. Then Kvachid Grihashram Karana Chodhanati Bharagri Bharurukshmanu Lok Vasana Karshit Mana Kantaka Sarkara Kshetram Pravishanniva Mo Sidati. And sometimes, being part of family life, he engages in some karma, grihashram karma, being impelled to perform some activity which is not easy to perform, ati bharam. It is quite heavy or quite demanding, which requires a lot of effort. It's just like climbing a mountain. So those of you who have done mountain climbing, you know that it's not an easy thing. It takes a lot of energy, effort, and it's dangerous. So he gets into some ritual, some religious act. So it's like now this is the marriage season. So people spend a lot of money on marriages. You have to really talk to the people who are performing the marriage, the parents. They are the ones who are spending. And how much money they have to spend on this. It doesn't matter whether they are rich or poor, but most people spend beyond their capacity. And the reason is that they are trying to show off. Because somebody else is doing it, so I have to do it. That's why it says Loka Vashita Vyasana Karsita Mana. That their mind is pulled or attracted or forced because of the other people doing it. Somebody has type of car, your friend or your neighbor, then you also want to get it. I usually hear the children that somebody else has this flat screen TV, which is now the craze in India. So the children of the other house, they also want. Otherwise they feel inferior. So now the parents cannot afford it, but they pester them. So then somehow they buy, but this is very tough for them to do. So in marriages they spend so much money, just one day show. They blow up so much money. So that people come and they say, oh, this was so wonderful. So everybody wants to do something different now. Previously everybody was doing the same. I remember in the village it was a very standard thing. There was nothing special. It was already known what will happen. You could just predict. The whole marriage will cost 100 rupees. Of course in those days 100 rupees was also a good amount. But I remember it was 100 to 200 rupees, that's all. Then Like when marriage ceremony happened, the father of the daughter gives some dowry. They used to give like 21 rupees, 51 rupees. Now they will be giving 51,000 lakhs. And yesterday we were talking how much they spend on the dresses. There was nothing like that. Very simple. Dhoti kurta. Everybody wore dhoti kurta. How much it costs? Simple. Now just the dress of the bridegroom will cost few lakhs. Now there is a competition that the bridegroom will come in the helicopter. Previously they were coming, they started coming on elephant. Then these better people, they objected. So they don't want. So now they are coming in helicopters. This is the new trend. And everybody is looking. So this is called Loka Vyasana Karsitamana. And this is climbing the mountain. Because after climbing the mountain, what do? Come down. Nobody stays there. People go to Mount Everest in this cold, they struggle very hard, they stay there maybe 5 minutes. Put a flag or whatever, and they come down. So what happened? What do you gain? This is only Loka Vyasit Karsit, because others have done it, I also want to do it. Then I can also thump my chest, I did it. So this is called climbing the mountain. So many times people, they are doing things like this in the material world. Not that it needs to be done, not that they get any benefit from it, but just because others are doing it. So you do it because I did it, and I am doing it because I know that you did it. So I am afraid of you that if I don't do it, what you will say. And you are afraid of me that if you don't do it, then what I will say. So we are just afraid of each other's opinion. And just to get of others' opinion, then we do this. So you see these people doing parikrama here? Did you see it yesterday? Yes. Day before yesterday. How many people were? 1,000. And this was 24 hours, non-stop. It starts at night, 12 o'clock, goes to 12 o'clock night. Crowd of people. Most of these people are doing it because somebody else is doing it. Don't have anything to do with parikrama. Because my neighbor is doing it, and if I don't do it, then he will say, oh, you didn't go? And then you don't want to say, yes, I didn't go. You don't have the courage to say that.
They believe that Radha Krishna also used to be Radha Krishna parikrama.
Nobody believes in anything.
Nobody. Only together.
They're smoking and listening to radio and going around and finished. So this is a very interesting word which he has used here. So this is the human psychology. Loka Karshit. Loka Vyasana Karshit Mano. Very nice word. So this is called Vyasana. Vyasana actually means some kind of addiction. That people are addicted to doing things, to flaunt their ego. That is the addiction. And then because you are doing it, so then I do it. So you are using this brand of shirt, then I also must have it. I am not less than you. So he says, Kantaka Sarkara Kshetram Pravishaniya. So then he gets thorns because you have to do parikrama barefoot. Right? So sometimes you get thorn, and Sarkara means it's pebbles, stone pieces. Previously there was sand all around. Now they made road. So these roads are not like western roads, so you have a lot of holes and stones. You have to walk on them. And then afterwards your feet are aching. And you have to go for pedicure. this is life. So it says, Chalan kochit iti etad vyachaste kochit girhashrama karma chodana tabhi prapto yo ati bharo asvamedadhi vivaha adirva saiva giristamam. So he says, in the household life, the married life, there are injunctions because he's writing on the olden days, there were instructions. So there used to be one sacrifice called Ashwamedha, horse sacrifice. Kings, of course, no normal person could do it. Kings used to do it. So kings had their own karma vyasana. Kings, have you done horse sacrifice? And what kind of a king you are? And doing horse sacrifice means your whole life will go just to do that. It takes so much amount of money, energy and effort. Last 1 year, complete 1 year. After that you're bankrupt. For one life. And the other one he says is marriage. So that means even at his time the marriage had this problem. Otherwise why is he writing? So now Ashwamedha is not there, but marriage still continues. So he says that is the mountain on which he desires to climb. Tadantam gantum lokanam, so he wants to reach the end of this mountain. Lokanam prativeshi jananam vyasnam tadrish brihat karma asakti tena karshitamana. So he says loka, people here means the neighbors. So these people who have done some big act, so he also wants to do, although he does not have the ability to do. So I don't have the ability to climb the mountain, but because my neighbor is doing it, so I should also do it. And then because I don't have the energy to do it, then I suffer. Ete swapratishthartam brihat karma kurvanti. So he says just for the sake of their own name and fame, they engage in this some big endeavor. Aham katham na karomi iti vikshubha chitta. Says, why am I not doing it? Like this become disturbed. And then text out. Kvachitcha dussahena kayabhyantar varnina grihita sara sakutumbaya kudhyati. And sometimes he has the fire inside the body, kaya abhyantar varni, which is the fire of hunger. And he is so troubled by it that he is grihita sara, that all his awareness, his consciousness, his forbearance, his fortitude is completely lost. He is absolutely intolerant. So that is the meaning of grihita sara. So then he gets angry at the family members. Pade pade abhyantar varnina iti etad vyachaste kochit dussahina grihita sara dagdhadhariya. So he says, he is describing where earlier the verse was that at every step he is troubled by this inner fire. So this is very intolerable. Therefore he uses the word dussa. Saiva punar nidra ajagara grihito andhe tamsi magna sunya aranye iva shrete nanyat kinchan veda savaiva apavidya. And then there was description that while walking in the forest he is caught by a python. So python has great tamas. It's the personification of tamas, that it lies in one place and does not want to move. So once there was a king and he wanted to know who is the most lazy person in his kingdom. So he made an announcement that those who are lazy people, they please come, and most lazy will be awarded by the king. So all the lazies, they flocked to the kingdom. So the king he had made one house, and he says, you all go inside. So everybody went and lied down because they're lazy. So he supplied food to them, they are all lying down and eating. And then he said his servant, he says, now you put this house to fire. So the house started burning. So those who were less lazy, they stood up. And they're sitting and looking. And when fire increased, they stood up and they started walking very slowly. Like that, as the fire was increasing, most of them, they stood up, they were all lying down. First they didn't want to move unless the fire was really coming to them. So finally 2 people remained, and the fire was coming to one side of this one lazy man. So he is telling to the other person, hey, can you help me? Can you turn me to the other side? So the king said, okay, he is the one who deserves the reward. He is most lazy. Because he cannot even turn himself. He needs the help of someone to turn him. So he says that this python is like that. It just lies in one place and does not move, even for food. At least you make some effort for food. If the python is lying in one place and anyone comes nearby, it just sucks it. So in Sanskrit, python is called ajagar. Aja means a goat. In the forest, goats go around, so if the goat comes nearby, he just catches the goat and swallows it alive. And then he will lie down there for weeks digesting. So it was described there that this fellow who was walking through the forest, he was also caught by python. So python here signifies sleep. That you fall asleep and you are completely swallowed by it. It's like python takes over the whole body inside, like that your body is gone. You're not aware of it. So therefore he says that Saiva Punar Nidra Ajgaragiri. So Nidra or the sleep is compared to the python. Andhe Tamasi Magna. So he goes into deep ignorance because he becomes oblivious of everything around him. And Sunya Aranya Iva Shete. And he sleeps as if he is in the forest. Means he does not have any understanding or knowledge of the things around him. Nanyat Kinchana Veda, does not know anything. Sava Iva Apavidya. So he is like a dead body. So when we sleep, we are as good as dead, as far as the surroundings are concerned. Inside you are awake and you are dreaming, but as far as outside is concerned or other people around you, you are like a dead person. So it says, Kvachid nigirna ityatad vyachasta sayavati apavidha swajanais tyakta. So at that time he loses contact with his family members. So when we sleep, then we may have great affection, love, attachment to our family members, but we lose contact with them. We become disconnected with everything else. That's what sleep means. Sleep means to become disconnected with everything around you, including your own gross body. So be situated in yourself. That's why in Sanskrit, very nice word. Sanskrit words are very nice. Sleep is called swapa. So swapa means swa and apa. Swa means self and apa is apuri, to attain yourself. So you are within your own self. Forget about everybody. You are really just in your own world when you are dreaming, and deep sleep is the actual swapa. There is nothing else but you. Only your light shines. You are just in your own glory. Completely. Nothing else. Lonely. So that is called sleep. And kadachit bhagnamana danstro durjana dandasu kaira labdha nidrakshano vathit hridena anupshiyamana vigyano andhakupe adhavat patati. And there was description that sometimes you are bitten by dandashuka, snakes with their fangs. Danda means the fang. So they bite you, and then you are poisoned, alabdhanidrakshana, you don't sleep, you are troubled, vathit hridaya, there is pain in the heart. In India they say that if you are bitten by a snake, then don't sleep. So people don't let you sleep. If you sleep, then the poison spreads even quicker. So therefore it says alabdhanidrakshana. You don't fall asleep, and vathit hridayana anukshiyamana vigyana. And every moment your vigyana, your consciousness is diminishing. You start losing your consciousness. The poison overpowers the whole system. And then what happens? You fall into a blind well. Andhakupe adhapada. So there are two types of well. There are well with eyes and blind well. Right? So what is blind well? Empty. Without water. That is called blind well. Because if water is there, you can float. At least you have water to drink. But in the blind well, there are usually snakes. They live there. So that is the meaning. So what does this mean? What is the allegorical significance? It says Bhagnamana Danstro. That it is that you become insulted by people. And your pride is smashed by others. That's what it really means. Dashtasma seteti vyachaste kochit bhagnamana. So this describes that these wicked people, they trouble you, and they are like the snakes. They are like snakes, and what is this called? The other one, vrishchik. Scorpion. Scorpion bite is very painful. So they are biting you, and because of that you cannot sleep. Because if somebody insults you, then at night when you lie down in your bed, then what happens? Then that insulting incidents starts playing in your mind again and again. Because your mind is so agitated, and you feels so upset. And obviously you cannot sleep then. You cannot sleep when mind is upset. So that's one of the reasons that people cannot fall asleep at night. Because all this real gets recorded in the daytime, it starts playing at night. And then you have closed your eyes, you are neither awake nor you are sleeping. So you remain tense, you are not relaxed. So that is like some snake has bitten you and there is a poison inside. He's given you injection of the poison. And that is injected in the mind. Then you cannot sleep. So then when you wake up in the morning, you're still tired. That's why I said that the birds, they chirp because they sleep nicely. So they're happy when they wake up. And because we don't have good sleep at night, when we wake up, we are neither awake nor sleeping. So that is like falling into the blind well. Still want to sleep more, so then you need a cup of black coffee, which can wake you up. So, karhisma chit kamam madhu, madhulavan. Kama madhulavan vichinvan yada pardara paradravyani avrundhanu ragya swami bhirva nihata patati apare nirai. And then it was said that sometimes in the forest he gets little honey. Because in the forest there are bees and there are beehives. So you are wandering, getting all this trouble, you see beehives, says let me take some honey. But then you get bitten. So he says that sometimes karisma chit kamam, kama madhulavan, that he is looking for the drops of honey, which means trying to fulfill sex desire, because it says kama madhu. So kama means lust. So he wants to satisfy his lusty feelings, and therefore he goes here and there. He makes contact with others' wife, pardara, or kama also means desire. So he has desire for others' wealth, so he is making plan how to steal somebody's wealth, pardara pradravyani avrundhanu. So he tries to get, but either he gets caught in the process and then he gets thrashed by the husband of the wife or by the owner of the wealth. Or if he somehow becomes successful in enjoying or getting the wealth, then some other powerful person comes and kicks him away. So then he falls into the hell, which means suffering. So karhisma chit shudra rasaniti vetad vyachaste sma kameti. So sometimes he is looking for some pleasures and enjoyment, and then he makes plan. So he goes for this, for others' wealth, others' wife, but then the owner, or the husband or wife, whichever, then they catch him and beat him up, or he is caught by the police, and then he goes to hell, means he is put inside a prison house. which is like a hell, and he stays there. So this is the situation of the person. I'll stop here because it still continues. One more class, and then you will learn this chapter. If there is any question on this.
The fire of the hunger
Yes.
is something very painful in her.
You heard.
Yeah. Because I feel so hungry.
So then you have to do panchkarma.
There's fire everything.
There is a sloka in Ayurveda, maybe from Charak Samhita. It says that it is only the power of ama that one can tolerate the hunger.
How is that? It's keeping you down.
Because if there is no ama in the body, then hunger is
Burning.
burning.
But this fire is the same fire for the digestion?
Yeah, there is only fire of digestion. There are 13 types. Fires. Panchamahabhutas, they are called bhutagnis.
Buddha's ghost?
Bhuta is the elements. And there are 7, what do you call them? Dhatu agnis. And one is the Jatra agni. They are all digestion. Because digestion happens at different levels. It's not just at one level, many levels. And it continues for many days. What you eat today, it doesn't get, everything does not get digested just in a few hours. It actually goes on for a few days actually. Really speaking, for 1 month.
My God. You're always engaged in digestion. For 1 month?
Yeah, because the last one takes almost 1 month to be formed, produced.
That's for a normal person, yeah?
Yeah.
Imagine one who's sick by digestion. It'll take a year.
It doesn't get digested.
Stays there.
Then it becomes ama.
Oh.
That's why you don't feel hungry. Because hunger comes when food is digested.
How is this blind well? Is like the criticism of others? Because how's that? Like I didn't follow that correlation.
Since well has a purpose, it gives you water. But if it is blind, it's not giving you water, it's only giving you trouble. And you fall inside it. So now you cannot perform your normal activities. And there is not even water in it. Blind well. Means you become blinded. Right?